Leeds United fans are going through a little bit of a weird moment at the minute where we're having this sort of debate thing all over sort of Twitter and the rest of the internet. And it's genuinely the most insane debate that I've heard of. So if you want to have a little bit of a chat about it, stick around and we will do. If not, that's okay. Pop back at some later point and I'll be talking some nonsense about some other nonsense. But this is the sort of general conversation around whether people would prefer that Leeds United to focus on the league and stay in the Premier League and have that guaranteed, or they would rather win the FA Cup and end up relegated. Now, this has been the subject of many a Twitter poll, with various people stating their opinions very, very loudly and them sort of leaning in one direction or the other. But I thought I'd sort of approach it from a slightly different take. And first of all, I'm going to talk about sort of the pros and cons of each one. So, like, obviously, the pros of staying in the Premier League are that, well, you kind of have to if you want long-term financial stability, especially if you look at our squad right now and the wages that those players have. It's significant. It's a lot of cash. And without Premier League football, you don't get that cash. And in addition to that, I feel like morale would be sort of ruined amongst the entire fan base, not just the squad, but everybody would have their morale just sort of devastated by it. Sorry, I'm not able to do the sort of gesticulating and stuff, carrying a baby again. But with morale being absolutely on the floor, it would be a case of, well, we got relegated, we took 2 seasons, we got promoted again, only to go immediately back down again. People would be like, well, what's the point? Why bother? It's not going to work out for us, which is a bad place to be psychologically. But then again, people who are of this opinion are also stating that you don't really want to throw out what is a very rare chance at winning a cup. Leeds don't do that particularly often right now. The last time we got some reasonable silverware that wasn't the championship was, I believe, off the top of my head, when we won the league in '91. But outside of that, trophies are few and far between, so it could be something that would be nice for us to have. And then on that other side, you have the pros of winning the FA Cup. So winning the FA Cup is nice, and it does sort of help the profile of the side. Like sides like a Wigan who managed to win the FA Cup against Man City a good few years ago. They have had their profile somewhat boosted by that. They're not just viewed as like that League One club. There's a little bit more support for them, a little bit more sort of heritage and prestige to them because of that win, and it's something that we would be able to sort of replicate if we did. Not to the same extent, obviously, not a League One side, but it'd be an upset. It'd be a genuinely historic one that puts the entire squad that we've got right now in the club's history as a sort of, look, this is what we were able to do, and it's a hell of a thing to do. But then you've got to consider the fact that that comes with relegation, and that would genuinely deeply ruin the squad, not only this season, but next season, because you get a lot of players sold, and the players that did stick around wouldn't have a 46 game EFL season. They'd have at least 54 matches, because if you win the FA Cup, you qualify for the Europa League. And if you're in the Europa League, you've got 8 matches minimum in the league phase. So that would be absolute insanity. But my stance on it isn't that I'm taking one side of the debate or the other. It's that it's a bit of a stupid debate to have in the first place, which is something that I think a lot of people haven't picked up on. Because it's this sort of false dichotomy of people assuming, well, it's got to be one of these two things, and if we don't like win the FA Cup, then we'll have stayed up, and that's nice. But if we win the FA Cup, it'll be at the cost of the league, and that's not the case. We're only a couple of matches off like safety at the minute, and I've got some of the matches that we've got left written down here. We've got Wolves at home, which, if you're looking at matches and looking at where you're going to pick up points, there's 3 there. You've got Tottenham away. Tottenham are sort of struggling at their home ground. We've got Burnley at home. West Ham away. West Ham are still a bit stuttery. We've got Brighton at home. Brighton 2 points ahead of us at the minute. Crystal Palace in the same conversation. And Sunderland are worsening in form at the moment. There's a hell of a lot of targets for us to try and get points from these games. And at the same time, there's no point just tossing the FA Cup to one side. Because what's the worst that can happen if we put a little bit of effort into the FA Cup? There's a couple of matches where we've got some tired players. Cool. At the same time, we've got a little bit of momentum right now. Sorry. Stumbled over my words there because in that very moment, a baby farted on me. Oh, are you happy with yourself? But it's not a case of one or the other, it's a case of keep that momentum going. And if you've got that momentum, if you're in the habit of winning games of football, don't break that habit by saying, well, we'll just play some youth players for this one. Keep the habit going. Push sides as hard as we can. People might look at the Norwich match and go, piece of pace, play some 21s. No, win it. And then for the next one, I don't know if we'll turn out with Mansfield or Wrexham or Man City or Arsenal. It'll be someone, but it'll be a match that is winnable because it's the FA Cup and anything can happen. It's nice to have a good cup run. And the fact that this conversation is going on about throwing it away because it might help to guarantee safety a little bit more is pointless because it doesn't. The two barely affect each other. You got to think, we've played 46 matches in the Championship last season. So far, we've played 2 in the FA Cup. To get to the semi-finals, we need to play 2 more. To complete an FA Cup run and get to the final and win the whole thing, we need to add 6 matches onto our season, which is less than a Championship season in total. Absolutely no point throwing things away. I think we're in a good spot. Keep pushing for it. It'll be a good time. And that was my thoughts on that. She keeps farting, and it feels really weird against my leg. That's all I can say on that one. But yeah, that's for the most part what I had to discuss today, because it's just one of those weird conversations where I don't quite understand why we're having it. We need to be in a position where we're doing our best for the future of the club, but at the same time, if you're not enjoying it, then what's the point? Why not just hire the most defensive Sunday League manager that you could possibly find and just say, well, we just won't concede any goals then? And then a series of 0-0s until the end of the season probably keeps us up. And it's like, sure, yeah, but at the same time, we got to have a little bit of fun. And even after we were promoted last season, everyone had all of their fun. That's not a fart. That doesn't smell like fart. Anyway, everyone had the majority of their fun with the title parade. The absolute joy that just swept throughout the city was ridiculous. If anything, I think the point of this video is look for the good moments, because that's why we like football. It's not for the balance sheet, but the balance sheet fucking helps. And it helps to get the moments when you're able to sign the good players. We can have the approach of do both. And if we don't, we kind of miss the point. Anyway, I am fairly sure that I have a nappy to change right now. So I'm going to leave the video roughly there. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on it. Subscribe as always, that'd be massively appreciated. Become a channel member. You get videos early if I'm able to record them relatively early. Like 2 hours early today because it's 4:30 in the morning. But you know what? I did my best. And yeah, hope you enjoyed and I will see you later. Thank you so much for that, Stinky. That was the most distracted I've ever been doing a video.